everybody, it's Gracie and April, and we're back with some more card fun today. I have a little technique. Probably a few months ago, there was a technique that someone shared, which was white with a splash of color, and she had used mainly die cuts and stamps. So she had stamped one image with color and the other images were just white, and that splash of color just made the card. Well, I took it just a step further, and I actually did it as kind of a cheater method for when I don't have a whole lot of time to create a card, but I want something that's pretty and elegant. So I stamp in black, and then I pick one element in the image that I've stamped, and I color it. So let's go see. So I have everything ready to go. I have a piece of scratch paper where I test my stamp before I stamp it on my cardstock. I have several pieces of 4x5 1/4 Nina Solar White cardstock. I like to use that when I'm not going to be watercoloring. I have 3 stamps, 3 ATC stamps from Fun Stamper's Journey that I think will work well with this technique. And then I have my tried and true stamps. This one is by Inkadinkadoo, and this one is by Northwoods. This is one of my very faves that I use a lot. I have my Zig Clean Brush pens. You can choose any markers or Copics or whatever you have, colored pencils, whatever you have to color with is fine. There's not any particular coloring technique or anything. It's very simple, very quick, and that's the whole point of the one color in the image. I've got my acrylic block. I have my VersaFine ink, which is also one of my favorite inks, my favorite black ink. And let's get started. So the first one I'm going to do is this stamp by Inkadinkadoo, and I'm going to ink it up. Make sure that my image stamps neatly. I use a mouse pad under my stamp in order to give me a little give and get a clearer stamped image. Depending on which side of my desk I work on, it could be Rob Pattinson, but on this side of the desk, it's the kitty. So I'm happy with that. Let's set that aside. Bring out my cardstock. With an image this big, it's just a matter of, what I like to do is put a piece of color coordinated cardstock as a frame around the edge, and then put it on a card base, and I need to add a sentiment, of course, but it's good to go. I'm going to stamp towards the bottom so I have room at the top for my sentiment. I'm going to press down so I get a good image. Alright, and there we go. So on this one, I think I'm going to focus on this image here, and I'm going to do purple. So I'm going to take my Zig Clean Brush, and I know these flowers probably aren't normally purple, but I'm just feeling in a purple mood. I'm going to color the darker parts with the darker marker, and you don't have to do this. You can just put the color on and go. And then I'm going to bring the lighter color marker down. I just pulled these two out of my tin. They might not necessarily be the best for blending, but actually I kind of like these two colors together. When I first started coloring, I wasn't quite sure I was happy with my choice. But I'm just gonna color. There's a lot of interest in this image, and with coloring just this portion of the image, that's where your eye is going to be drawn. And color. I am also going to color the center of the flower yellow. Find my yellow in here. Don't you love my organization? Oh look, it's a new yellow. I haven't even taken the plastic off of it yet. Okay, color this. Oh, and it's bright. I like it. I like it. I like it. Alright, and then I want to find my light gray. I think that's purple. English lavender. Somewhere in here. Gray tint. And I'm going to just make kind of an outline around the flower. If someone else sees the flower, more than likely they're not going to notice this outline, but this just makes your coloring on your flower pop. Okay, and that's it. That's all I'm going to do. And let me go find some cardstock that's this color, stamp a sentiment, and I'll show you what the finished card looks like. So, I'm running low on sympathy cards right now, so I chose a With Sympathy sentiment, and you'll see it when it gets stamped, from Paper Smooches. I found this cardstock in my stash. I cut it down to 4 1/8 by 5 7/8, so that all I get is a really small frame around the edge of this image. And then I kind of smudged, I don't know if you can see right here, so that's where I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So maybe no one will notice that I made a boo-boo. Alright, I'm going to use the same Onyx black ink that I used for the image. I'm going to test it on my test sheet, ink it up again with Sympathy. I'm using the absorber. You can find it in the auto section at Walmart. It's a big sheet, and I've cut it up into little sheets. You wet it, and voila, your stamp is clean. I'm going to put my purple down. Now, if this is just going to send you over the edge and you can't send out a card that doesn't have some sort of embellishment on it, you could always add some sequins or enamel dots. This image is pretty busy, so I don't think that I would do any ribbon or anything. But here it is, a card ready to go. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview. This is true to just a splash of color. I colored one flower, put a sentiment on, and then put the red background, put it on a card base, and it's ready to go. I found that as my images got smaller, I felt more of a need to embellish. This is the last flower that I colored that you didn't get to see. I just colored the one flower. This is a smaller image, so I cut it down using My Favorite Things die, and then cut the coordinating color with the My Favorite Things die and put it on a card base. I did do more than just a splash of color in one place. I'd colored the candle and the stars and added my gel pen with the sparkles, and then used Operation Ride Home for the sketch. This one is another small image, so I ended up cutting it down and I added the enamel dots. Again, I guess because it's a smaller image, I felt more of a need to embellish. And this one, which was the first one I colored, I had a smudge here and was going to correct it with a colorless blender, and instead I used my C1, which put gray, and then it peeled, and anyway, long story short, I put some sequins there to hide my faux pas. So there you go. So in a very short period of time, it took me a little longer than it would have taken you if you were just going to do one card. Since I had some time this afternoon, I decided I'm going to do several cards. I can take these cards, I could give them as a gift, I can put them in my stash so that I'm ready to go whenever I need a card. I've got 2 happy birthdays, a thanks, a get well, and with sympathy. So that pretty much covers the gamut, other than congratulations, of what you would need for cards. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Have a great day and be inspired.
Gracie, what are you doing, Cece?